All right, everyone. Welcome to this daily Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for Tuesday, March 13th, 2018. All right, so today we have the moon in Capricorn. So themes perhaps about responsibility, taking things in a long-term perspective with that responsible approach. And we could just be feeling this way with the moon here. So we do have quite a few aspects today. Venus is going to be squaring up to Saturn, so there could be some serious energy perhaps coming in with relationships or maybe with our enjoyments of life. The sun is going to be trining up to Jupiter though, so there is a bit of hopefulness and inspiration in the air. And Mars is going to be squaring up to Chiron going into tomorrow, so maybe some healing still left to do with the masculine energy. All right, so let's look at all of this here in more detail when we return. All right, so here's the chart for this Tuesday, the sky for this Tuesday. And as a reminder, this video and this channel are for Sidereal Astrology. If you are new to the channel, definitely check out that link down below. We're using the actual size of the constellations, which does change the signs from mainstream astrology. All right, so yeah, let's have a look at the theme today, the moon in Capricorn. Themes pertaining to responsibility, usually with this, and maybe discipline, and again, that long-term perspective. So that's the general theme, but we could also be feeling this way as well. Maybe a bit reserved, detached, productive, usually a good time for productive things when the moon is in Capricorn, or anything that does require patience and responsibility. So as the backdrop, of course, we've recently had the sun shift into Pisces last weekend. So there is more focus on the more etheric aspects of life, the vastness of life, the ocean of life, listening to our intuition, being receptive. All of this is fantastic, especially with Mercury and Venus here as well. So let's take a look at the aspects here today. We do have a couple aspects going exact, and going into tomorrow, a third one. So let's talk about Venus squaring up to Saturn. So when it comes to relationships and our values today, there could be this sort of testing going on with Saturn. So really good to take seriously, I think, relationship stuff in a way that's grounded. And again, long term with Saturn. Saturn is just like that Capricorn energy. So seeing the big picture with that, but also with our values as well. You know, things like finances, the enjoyments of things, you know, really just, again, taking the long-term perspective, the long-term enjoyments versus the short-term enjoyments with this is great. And it's this kind of testing thing that Saturn does to test our values, to test our relationships, to make sure that they are our real values, right? And they're in alignment with our real values and, you know, deep connections and true relationships. So if we're willing to test ourselves here with, again, that patient, disciplined, long-term perspective, I think it's fantastic with this Venus square Saturn. So along with that, an easy aspect to coincide with this today is that the sun is going to be trining up to Jupiter. So there is some hopefulness and inspiration in the air. Usually really good for expanding our horizons with this. Could be through discussing philosophy, maybe, you know, expanding our literal horizons. But it's just because we have a bit of this buoyancy usually with this aspect. So hopefulness, maybe some inspiration, maybe some opportunities, quite literally, depending on your personal chart, because we're open-minded with this. Maybe a bit expressive as well, right? So with that expressive energy, you know, just kind of cultivating a bit of that open-mindedness and inspiration. All right, so those are the two most important things going exact today, but going into tomorrow, Mars is going to be squaring up to Chiron. And so if you recall last weekend, we went through this sort of transformation with the masculine energy, and we're still very much integrating that this week. And so with the square, if there are any wounds that you do feel having to do with, again, that masculine side, maybe it's your confidence, maybe it's courage, maybe it's your assertiveness, right? These types of things are going to be healed here this week. So with Chiron, especially in a square, it's really good to take action and initiative in the face of those wounds, right? Which then leads to healing. And so that's a good way of working with this. I think anything you can challenge yourself in that Mars fashion, can lead to good healing with that energy. All right. So that's the day in a nutshell. Pretty much mixed energy. I think the major theme is going to be still about that reserve with the moon in Capricorn, and of course the Pisces influence of receptivity really needing to be integrated at this time. Also noteworthy is that we are entering into the balsamic phase this middle to later part of the week, which is the ending phase of the lunar cycle. So really good to get into that more calming energy, noticing the energies are dying down a little bit, maybe doing some clearing in our life. All right, so have a fantastic day, everyone. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow for the daily forecast.